Hey YouTube, thanks for stopping by the channel and thanks for clicking play today. Boy, we got some great news today that came from CorvetteBlogger.com, also from GMAuthority.com. The Corvette engineers are back at the Nürburgring. This time around, they are testing not the ZR1, but they are testing the C8 ZORA models. And how do we know they're the ZORA models? Well, look closely here, guys. There are two things that are setting this apart that you know that these are not ZR1s and that they are indeed the ZORA models with the hybrid powertrain. Now, you know, GM said that they took the camouflage off of the ZR1s so they could completely finish their testing because they couldn't test any further with the camouflage on. So now you know that these are not ZR1s that they're testing, but also there's the vertically mounted cooling radiator on the front driver's side corner that is specific to the E-Rays all-wheel drive cooling loop, and you can see these in the upcoming pictures here in the actual spy photos that we have at the Nürburgring. The second, and it's the most telling one, guys, it's the one that really lets the cat out of the bag on this one, that all vehicles that run with either a hybrid or EV battery packs at the ring are required to carry an official Nürburgring warning sticker to first responders that the car is electrified. And you can see those those orange stickers on the quarter panels windows and both, or the B-pillar windows, and both on the windshield up there. So again, you can see the yellow stickers on the back when we get back shots of it, and the back of the hatches. Again, saying to first responders, hey, this is an electrified vehicle. So this is definitely ZORA, guys. The ZORA's here. The ZORA's coming. Okay, we have these all-wheel drive cooling radiators that we can see in the front that we saw on the E-Ray. They do look very similar. The ZTK package, right? The high wing, they still have the cooling duct for the radiators in the front through with the hood. That is not going away. I was kind of wondering how they were going to do that with the motor up front, but I guess evidently there's enough space for that. But also what I'm not seeing in a difference between the ZTK package ZR1s and the ZORAs that are now in camouflage out, I'm really not seeing anything that confirms active aero to me. Now, in this picture here, you can kind of see it looks like there may be some actuators on those rear stabilizers to hold up the rear wing, but I don't think so in the other pictures, okay? So I don't think we're going to be getting a difference as far as active aero in the ZORA here. But, guys, I mean, this really brings it up to the next level with this, right? Like you have all of these ZORAs. There's 4 examples that they have. They still have 4 cars at the ring right now. They all have ZR1 bodywork, including the flow-through front hood, the additional rear intakes on the sides and rear of the cars. And they have all of them are wearing the ZR1 wheels. So at current, they're not showing their hand as far as if they're going to release a separate wheel for the ZORA or if it's going to be similar to the ZR1 wheel. I do like the ZR1 wheel, and I saw it in person at Carlisle, and I really, really liked it. Most of these pictures were kind of taken either getting in and out of the ring or coming around the carousel part of it. But anyway, long story short on these, the weather wasn't really very helpful for them to get much in the way of video so we can hear these cars running. I don't imagine it's going to sound much different than the ZR1, even though the ZR1 to me sounds quite a bit more muffled than the Z06 itself. And I attribute that definitely to the turbos, kind of being right off the intake, or the exhaust manifolds. So that's going to kind of, tamp down that sound a little bit. But guys, you think about this ZORA is going to have the ZR1's LT7 twin turbocharged engine combined with the E-Rays front hybrid all-wheel drive system, making a total of 1,224 horsepower. Right? There's no guessing at this. We know what the ZR1 is going to make. We know what the battery and the E-Ray makes. I don't imagine they would increase the power on the battery itself to make it any better as far as give it more power. I think it's just already done and it's already developed and it's set, so they're just going to end up tacking that on and then end up with a total of 1,224 horsepower. Again, traction, the way they're doing it with the ZR1, where they're limiting torque in the first and second gears, and then you have the all-wheel drive system up front, it's really, really going to make a huge difference with traction. I'm actually curious to see how they get all that power down to the ground in the ZR1, but the ZORA is obviously going to have the front assist. Now, in this picture, too, here, you can see the ZORA has the down-facing kind of, muffler pipes there at the back, just like the ZR1 did. So, again, sound clips you hear that are going to start to trickle out from the ZR1. The ZORA testing is going to not really do it justice, but they have to do this to meet the sound decibel requirements at the Nürburgring, because you can't have a car that's too loud. They won't let you run. I do see here, though, look at this back picture, guys. Look at the way the spacing on the rear wheel sits. The offset to me is just not right on any of the C8 models, especially the wide bodies. I would hope they would put out a rear wheel on the Zora that would be a little bit wider and would fill in those fender wells nicely and would come out flush, so you wouldn't either have to go to an aftermarket wheel or you wouldn't have to go to spacers. Currently I have 20 millimeter spacers on my Z06, but I am getting a set of Forge Light wheels that will correct that, and that will end up, bringing my wheels out flush. I do love the new ZR1 design, so, if they stick with that and maybe just go a carbon fiber only with Zora, that would be okay with me. But if they have a new model altogether, a new wheel altogether, then, I'm okay with that too, because they've kind of hit it out of the park. There are some really good aftermarket offerings, but I really do like the way they set up the ZR1 wheel there. Now, allegedly, the photographer that's been getting these snapshots is working on getting video, but he also said that there's a blue 2025 Corvette Z06 that's at the track with the Corvette team, which is going to be run by a German magazine and driver for their super test on the ring, just to kind of get some time. So I'm kind of anxious to see what those. I'd really like to have some official times, maybe even if GM's not setting him some lap times of the Z06, so that way you have a benchmark for the ZR1 and then the Zora. And I know that they were benchmarking the ZR1, certainly the Zora model here, against the SF90 by Ferrari. That's a really good comparison. The horsepower numbers are about the same. It's a hybrid powertrain, and this angle here, I look at it the front end looks a little more aggressive. You look at that side profile looks really good, and then from the back here, there's not a whole lot of difference. The diffuser looks like it's a little bit different, but all in all, it looks about the same as the ZR1, and again, no active arrow that you can see on there. Time's only going to tell if at those power levels, 1,064 versus 1,224, if that's going to make that front wheel drive, that extra 160 horsepower coming out of there, is actually going to make a difference around places like the Nürburgring, where you have to actively be recharging and switching back to recharging or charge mode over the ZR1. When you have 1,000 horsepower, that extra 200 with the extra weight, is it really going to make that big of a difference around a place like the Nürburgring? I have no idea. To be honest with you, my gut says it's going to be about the same. And I think if the arrow's good enough, you're not going to need that extra front pull from the battery to get a better time on the ring. Okay, think F1 cars, right? There's enough downforce that their rear-wheel drive, they have, all of that downforce. They don't need any hybrid drive up front to help with traction. They just use downforce and, all the aerodynamics to help keep the car planted to the road. You can see here, though, look at the front left wheel. The driver's side wheel is pulled off the ground on this curve. This chassis is really, really stiff, guys. Look at that. That's several inches off the ground on this turn that it's actually flexed, or it's not flexed. So the chassis itself is rigid enough that wheel is actually off the ground. It's a really impressive shot. That's a good shot there by the spy photographer. I know we're in the early stages of development here with the Zora model, so it's not likely going to be a 26 model. I think they're going to be lucky to get the ZR1 out with just enough production units to make it a 25 model, and then it's really going to come on 26. So my prediction would be more a 27-year model for the Zora. Again, now we got to start, as we get closer, start talking about things like performance and price, and we get to play those games again as far as what we're going to think it's going to pricing. My bet is that the ZR1 comes in at, just shy of 200,000, and then well option 230, 240, maybe even 250. So we'll see. But this is the exciting time, man. What a great time to be a Corvette fan, where you have, the Stingray is such a capable platform to begin with. For what they get out of 495 horsepower out of that car is absolutely amazing. Then you've got the Z06, you've got the E-Ray, now you've got the ZR1 coming with the twin-turbo LT7 that's going to make, 1,024 horsepower. And we know the Zora's coming now. We actually know it's coming. We're seeing them on the Nürburgring in camouflage. So it's just a fantastic time to be a Corvette fan and to be able to enjoy this. And we love, pontificating, hypothesizing, guessing at what it's going to be. That's part of the problem, and that's part of our fun with it, right, guys? Just a quick video today, guys, to kind of show you that the Zora is now in testing phases. Again, if you haven't already, guys, like, share, and subscribe. Help us continue to bring you good content like this, and I'm going to stay on this, and I'm going to give you all the Zora and ZR1 content as it comes. Stay tuned, guys, and we'll keep you as informed as we can.